This production comes to you in association with the Bluebell Warrington. Situated in an 18th century building in the town centre and just a 5-minute walk from the HJ Stadium, the Bluebell is the perfect destination for pre- and post-game food and drink. The 2024 Warrington Pub of the Year is now the official home of Super League Raw on Warrington World Match Days for both home and away supporters. Super League Raw are delighted to have agreed a members-only area, allowing our community to come together to discuss rugby league pre- and post-match. So set your course to the Bluebell Warrington on match days and beyond. You are sure to be greeted with a warm welcome and a cold beer. Super League Raw and the Bluebell, the perfect partnership in enhancing your match day experience. So, good evening and welcome to Super League Raw Weekly this Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Gentlemen, how are we?
Very well, thank you.
Yes, we need to, again, apologies from Joel, busy on a Thursday night. Of course, we've done it Thursdays for the Ashes series. We will be going back to Tuesdays, but apologies from Joel. Plenty to talk about, gentlemen, plenty to talk about this evening. Where are we going to start? Should we start with something that was heartwarming this week? The Rob Burrow Centre for Motor Neuron Disease, really well covered in the local media and national media. I have to say, Rob would have been very, very proud. It certainly would have brought a smile to his face, the unveiling and the rest of it. Greg, obviously we did the special when Rob passed all those months, years ago now, isn't it? It was heartwarming, mate.
It was, yeah, and it's good to see that something good can come out of something so tragic, and hopefully this is the beginning now that the ball is rolling. That more and more of these centres can open up, not just around this country but around the world as well. Because we need to find a cure for this and a lot of other diseases that are taking away people far too soon. So yeah. I thought the BBC especially, they get some pelters sometimes from the rugby league community, but I thought they did it particularly well, covered it particularly well.
And Steph, you were there when Leeds paid tribute with Lee. So again, somebody who's been at some great occasions for Rob. But this is the one that really mattered, isn't it? This is the legacy that Rob leaves behind off the field, and it's going to change so many people's lives, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that word legacy is exactly the right word, Dave. I thought it's when we first heard that this was gonna happen, I think we've all been waiting for it and wanting to see it there and to have that centre there for people with this horrible disease. It's gonna it's going to add value to so many people's lives, and hopefully one step even closer to getting a cure for it. So this fundraising that's gone on and stuff, it's been great in supporting Rob's family and for the MND community. But it's great to see it going into a bricks and mortar centre as well, something visible that's not only going to help people, but also stand for the test of time as a monument to Rob and everything he did for our game and for our sport.
Absolutely. Only one Rob Burrow, absolutely one. And of course, let's not forget, folks, that the crusade, the money, it still needs to be raised for that centre so that it can continue and maybe spread itself a bit further and wider. So I know that we will continue as a rugby league family to support MND, but our very best wishes to family Burrow, and we hope that you had as nice a day as you could in the memory of Rob opening that centre. A very fitting tribute. Indeed. Bazza Kingston already in with the super chat. Steph Sale for the England head coach job. Wow. All Mr. Sale back. He'll be there. He even said, look, imagine these three running the England squad. Interesting. In
please.
Absolutely. Incredible stuff. But anyway, let's say a few hellos. Greg Roach is there, as usual. I've mentioned Bazza. Steve Carledge. Good evening, Steve. Hope you're well, mate. Adi Simpson's with us. Gary Bow. That's Gary Hutch. I got told off there. Nicola Burnwood is with us. Outstanding stuff. Yes, Keith Lambert. Jess Ferguson is in the chat as well. George Rallentine. Jono. I think Jono's Johnny Wilco, isn't it? I think he is. I think, yeah, but anyway, loads of people there. Make sure you get involved in tonight's debate, ladies and gentlemen. It will be marvellous. And a big hello to Mike Todd and Stu and all the people that, come to the Bluebell on Saturday after the coach party had left. In walks Toddy and the gang, and they end up keeping me in there until gone 11 when I was going to be going home. But they absolutely loved the Bluebell. Their first time there at the home of Super League Raw. Great band, and yeah, there was a few hangers on as well, has to be said. We did take the mick out of them. Some people patting us on the back, boys, for all that we do, but then not members. So, what a shocking effort. So on behalf of Stu, Toddy, absolute gentleman, Matthew Olsen as well. We've got some exciting news coming next week, reference Mr. Olsen, but we'll hold that one back for next week. But all of those people that came to the Bluebell, lovely to meet you all. And it's fair to say they saw why the Bluebell is the home of Super League Raw. It was a great night, great band, great company. If your team is coming to Warrington next year, make sure you come to the Bluebell and enjoy the hospitality of the team there. And of course, the Super League Raw team as well. It'd be absolutely great to get you there. Right, okie dokie, boys. Let's get on with it. But gentlemen, I hope you don't mind. Look, ladies and gentlemen, if I may, it's only right and appropriate. We've lost one of our own. We always talk about losing one of our own, don't we? And we've lost one of our own, and this one matters to me a lot, and it matters to Greg even more. We lost Greg's dad last week. Of course, Greg couldn't be here last week. He had to be with his dad, and rightly so. And I'm pleased to say that Greg was there with his dad when it mattered the most. And on behalf of myself, Steph, everybody that watches Super League Raw, we're with you, mate. Absolutely.
Cheers, mate. Cheers.
And this one's for John. May he rest in peace.
Yeah. And can I just say thank you to everybody who sent the best wishes as well.
Absolutely.
It meant a lot. So thank you very, very much.
Absolutely. Love you, mate. Right. Let's keep our chins up. I'm going to just get myself back together while we do this. Banging or hanging? Yeah, it's time for hanging or banging, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for hanging or banging. Of course, we're going to go through the main stories before we get to England. Got plenty of time to get to England, don't we? Let's go through some of the main stories. We had to start with Rob, of course we did. Right, boys, I'll bring you both in as we go through. We'll go hanging and banging. We've got the time tonight. Let's start with Tyler Dupree. Tyler Dupree off to Toulouse for the 2026 season. Steph, this is that little bit of cap dispensation going on, there's no doubt of it. Wigan, I mean, we've been talking about Tyler for quite some time, you and me a lot, on things like round unpack, captain's run. It's fair to say he hasn't lived up to expectation at Wigan. This is a massive move for Tyler because he's got to nail this one until he's still only 25, got a lot of years ahead of him, but he's really got to bounce back here and he's got to show his mettle. And as for Wigan, bit of cap space all of a sudden.
Well, it's being filled by Mr. Wilson, isn't it? Apparently, so yeah. But no, I think he's kind of flattered to deceive a little bit. It's been a big move for Tyler, and one that's probably not worked out in his favour. He's not been bad at Wigan by any means, but he's not got. He went there with such hype, didn't he? When you go with a transfer fee to a club like Wigan, big things are expected, and I think by his own admittance, he would say that he's not quite reached the heights that. He would have expected of himself, and also the Wigan club as well. So I think the encouraging sign is it's a loan move to Toulouse,
Yeah,
I believe, not a transfer.
no.
So Wigan obviously still holding on to the fact that he could it could take this opportunity with both hands and show what we all know the player he can be. From Tyler's point of view, I think it's a really good move. It's out of the country. It's a new experience for a young man to go over to France and that lifestyle. I think he'll really thrive in that environment. We've seen him at Widnes thrive. We saw him at Salford thrive. I just think Wigan was probably that 1 or 2 years maybe too soon for him to go to a club like that with the standard of forwards that they've already got at that club as well. The benchmark's so high, but hopefully that experience that he's had at Wigan, he can take that into Toulouse. Really use it as motivation for him now. He's still going to be playing Super League rugby, and if he takes that opportunity there and shines, then I think the door would still be open for him at Wigan. Hence why it's a loan, not a transfer.
Absolutely, and of course, Toulouse making some signings. Luke Palessi has come in from the London Broncos. He scored 10 tries in 24 games last year. Matthew Pons, he's in there as well, a 23-year-old winger. So they're starting to make some signings. Toulouse in Redmond for next season. Greg, you heard Steph there mention his name. Massive loss for Huddersfield Giants, Ollie Wilson. Of course, a lot of talk that Leeds would go with him. Looks like Wigan are going to win the race for him.
Well, it looks that way, yeah. I mean, our Huddersfield fans will know better than I do. I think he's had some injury issues, but when he's on form, he's a decent player. And Dupre went with a lot of praise and a lot of big raps from Salford to Wigan. As Steph and yourself have said, it didn't quite work out for him. I think Ollie Wilson will have a lot to prove, especially with his fitness. But it could be a great move for both parties.
Well, it's not for Huddersfield.
Well,
it is for Wigan, it's not for Huddersfield.
Wigan and young Oliver, sir. For Wigan and young Oliver.
I mean, no wonder Joel's gone AWOL. God, he's crying in his beer, isn't he? God bless him. But no, I mean, Wilson, I think it's look, we were saying it, weren't we, lads? I mean, for long parts of last season, he's probably one of the informed props, if not the informed prop. So, and this, of course, will temper Steph. You'd expect the Owen Trout rumours to Wigan. That seems, a lot of talk that Derek wouldn't have sold it, let him go to them anyway because of recent turmoil. But there's also talk of Ethan O'Neill, Steph, on his way to Leeds. Now, this is a great pickup if it happens for Leeds. I think it's fair to say Ethan O'Neill alongside Tessie New were breath of fresh air last season in terms of how they hit the ground running in Super League. Does this mean that let's put it this way, a man named O'Donnell was unveiled at Huddersfield in the last couple of days, and the elder brother, there's a lot of rumours over the elder brother potentially, maybe, coming back to Super League if you believe certain certain rumour mills down under. Would it have to be a Kai O'Donnell coming in to leave before they let Ethan go, or do you think this is going to gain momentum and Ethan he'll go regardless?
I would be surprised if Ethan left, if I'm being honest. Yeah. I think he's still got a lot to show at Leeds. He's only one season into a 2-year deal. So if anybody did come in for him, they're going to have to pay a fee, or it's going to have to be a player exchange or something on that respect. So, I mean, he was hampered with an injury at the end of last year. Whether that's more serious than what we know about, maybe Lee know more than stuff on that. I don't know. It's all speculation and rumour. But I think from a League perspective, Trout, Ethan O'Neill, Lachlan Lamb was rumoured to be going to OKR at one point. I think the good thing from a League point of view is that you say we kind of become a victim of your own success, don't you? For a club that's finishing third, it's only natural that perceived bigger clubs will start to try and come in for your players. But all League players, I believe, now are under contracts that League want to keep. So if any of our players are to leave, then there will have to be fees or player exchanges involved. So it'll be interesting to see. I think League do need to make a couple more signings, and I think we may be saving some of the bigger ones till last.
Don't we all? Don't we all, Steph? Carla Collier there, deeply disappointed if Ethan will go. And I can understand that from a Leifers perspective. I think even O'Neill only been there a year, but he's made a big impression. A lot of Leaf fans would be sorry to see him go. Mr. Nixon, one close to your heart, Women's Rugby League, marketing genius at Swinton, the Manchester Swinton Lions. Go on, lad, fill your boots. There you go.
No, it's brilliant. It's there are a few women's teams out there who know what they're doing and are getting the marketing teams working overtime to promote the women's game. It can only be good. A marketing genius, that I've seen the launch videos.
Very good.
It's very, very good. And fair play to the Manchester Swinton Lionesses, not the Lions, Lionesses.
I'm sorry, the Lionesses, my policy, yes.
Yeah, never upset a Lioness, man.
Never get your Simbas and Nalas mixed up, my apologies.
Good Lord, no.
Good Lord, let's get down with the kids. Yeah, go
on. But yeah, it is, as Craig says in the chat, it is a bit of a mouthful, but they've rebranded. That worked well for a certain team called Lee a few years ago. So let's hope, that it can have the same effect on the Swinton ladies, because they've been building over the last couple of years. So yeah, all power to them and good luck to them. I hope it works out for them.
I mean, on that, Steph, there's a lot of talk of Salford, isn't there? So there've been rumours of Salford rebranding to Manchester for I don't know how long. Is this a case of Swinton going, that's a possibility, we're going to get there first?
Maybe. Yeah. It's I think for a club in the Championship to be doing so well and investing in the women's game, I think it's maybe putting a few Super League sides to shame. None other than your own team, Warrington. But no, it's great to see. And I think, like you said, marketing genius is probably going a bit far. I can understand why they're doing it. It's good. It is good marketing, but it doesn't take a genius.
For the world of rugby league, mate.
Listen to it, Mr. Leopard, Hearing me. Our dog doesn't even mark its territory as good as that.
Let's get in context. This is rugby league.
We're in Manchester already. Let's call ourselves Manchester. But no, it's good. I can see what they're doing from a demographic point of view, and it definitely, if there was rumours that Salford, were going to get there, then getting there first and having the jump on them for that is, quite clever. I will give them that.
Yeah, I've got to admit, when I first saw it, I wondered, had they merged with the Salford women's team? That's the first thought that came into my head, but apparently not.
No, well, like I say, credit where credit's due. But I have to say, marketing-wise, regardless of what you think of them changing the name, the way they went about it, for a club in the lower leagues, it's a statement, and that's what we want to see. We want to see those teams in the Championship, the women's teams, etc. We want them to do things differently. We really do. And on that note as well, a lot of amateur clubs. Greg, your own culture. Even the amateur clubs are getting into a bit of social media now. And it's great to see. So long may that continue. I've still not seen the referee documentary land yet. I've been watching all day. Has it gone down now?
Yeah, I've watched it.
I've seen the trailer and I've seen the.
I haven't seen it.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So, obviously, I can expect what's going to be in there, Steph, so it's not a spoiler. So, give it your best. I personally, I'll be watching that. It's available on the Rugby League YouTube channel. It's Beyond the Whistle or Behind the Whistle, something like that is what they've called it. We've been crying out for a long time for the referees to come out of the shadows and actually show what they have to do to be a full-time referee and how, seriously they take the craft, etc. And maybe just become a bit more human. Does it deliver on that, Steph?
100%. It went well above what I expected it to be. It was a great insight into more so the interesting part was not to spoil it, but there's the competition between them, for the big games and who gets the finals, and yes, they're colleagues, but there is rivalry between them, which was, that made it a bit more exciting from a thing. But it covered the 24 season, so that it was a couple of years ago when it's actually been done. But yeah, no, it was great with Ben Thaler, who was always my favourite referee. I know he won't be some other, you know, if you can have a favourite referee. But they did a really nice piece on him, and Wakefield got his dad there out of a care home for his final game. To the way, you know, some real class,
Nice.
class touches in it. So I won't go too much more into the thing, not to spoil it for anybody. But yeah, it was a really good insight into them as human beings and what they do. But the big thing for me was, and it's a bit like what Wakefield have done and what Leeds have done, this generation now, what we're in, it's from, we talk about marketing, you know, when we're dealing with Swinton there, it's fly on the wall documentaries. That's what, you know, that's what Netflix, Amazon, and this, it felt a bit like a fly on the wall documentary into the referees. We talk about IMG and things that they can do with this, you know, how many followers they've got and all that. You know, we got clubs buying followers or whatever they're doing. It's irrelevant. Fly on the wall documentaries are the biggest thing that will get this game exposure, because it goes into the Netflix and Amazon Prime generation, and it's interesting and it's real life. And that, I think, from an IMG grading criteria, each club should be made to produce a weekly documentary to that standard. And it wouldn't take that much to do. They've all got media people in there at the moment. It would be doable. And that would be the biggest marketing thing this sport could do.
Couldn't agree with you more. Really looking forward to watching that. It's one that I will be watching. I was working till 5, and then, you know, it's just, time just flies by, folks. But I will be watching that. Looking forward to it. I would recommend that everybody does, because I'm sure it's going to be great. Carol Moore, good evening to you, Carol. We got a beer. Well done there, Carol. You know, it makes sense. Well done. If you want to join in, make sure you super chat. Show your love. If you're not a member, even more so. If you're not a member and you want to show some gratitude, get into super chats. Buy us a bit. You know, it makes sense. But yeah, well done, Steph. Outstanding stuff. Right, let's get into Jake Burns. Greg, Jake Burns. I mean, he's been busy, Paul. He's been very busy at St. Helens, wrapping up his boys. Jake Burns, of course, deputy hooker at times last year to Darrell Clark. Wrapped him up for another 2 years. He's going to be there till 2027. I don't mind Jake Burns. When I've seen him, he's one of those players for me that his biggest Achilles heel is he's never been given games. You know, he's never been given an opportunity, Greg, to really get going. But I think there's a bit of a player there. It'll be interesting to see if he does, with Darrell getting older by the day. I mean, he's still got plenty of rugby in him, but will he get more game time, do you think, under Paul Rowley?
We're all getting older by the day, mate.
Yeah, some of us by the second. Carry on.
Some of us by the centimetre, mate. Do you know what? Yeah, I mean, they've got a bit of a track record in producing class hookers of Saints, haven't they? You know, Cunningham, Roby, the likes of that. You know, it's very, very unusual that they bring a hooker in from outside in recent memory. You know, Daz Clark went from Warrington
to our knowledge.
In recent times.
Yeah.
I think Paul Rowley's probably looking. He's got a certain amount of time to turn that team around, and I think he's doing what a lot of teams promise to do and then sometimes fall down on it, and looking to promote from within, promote the youth. As you say, Daz Clark is not getting any younger. And I hope that, you know, I hope Saints do produce for the English game more than Saints from a selfish point of view. I hope they produce another Kieran Cunningham. I hope he is another James Roby, and let's give him his chance. And I think Paul Rowley is one of those coaches that works well with young players. So I don't see why he shouldn't give Jake Burns more of a chance next season.
No, it's an interesting one. Congratulations to Jake. We'll look forward to seeing him. And over to Wakefield, Steph. Caleb Hamlin-Uele. I can never get his second name. I think it's Hamlin-Uele, isn't it? Uele?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Hamlin-Uele? Something like that.
Well,
my apologies. We need to get that right, don't we? But this for me, bit of a surprise. A 5-year contract to 2030. Now, we've seen Wigan do this, haven't we? You know, tie their lads down to long-term contracts, which, of course, like you were saying about Lee, under contracts, if you go in, we're getting a bit of money for you, happy days. This surprised me. 5 years, that's a lot of faith Darrell Powell's shown in this lad. He must think, I mean, he's 26, so that's going to be, you know, bringing him right up to his peak as a prop forward, I would say, in there. Were you surprised at the term that he got? And then secondly, you know, what's your thoughts from a hanging, banging kind of way in terms of his signature and remaining at Wakey?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a banging for Wakey. It's great to keep him at the club, and he's obviously extremely to get that kind of deal. I mean, Edward Pappy got a 6-year deal, but you know, he's regarded as right up there with the top hookers in Super League, isn't it? I think it's great to tie players down for that amount of time if you've got the confidence in them. However, things can go wrong. And we've seen it when players have got long-term deals before, and they kind of like relax a little bit.
Yeah.
From a player's perspective as well, it can sound great to start with, but in 2-3 years' time, if wages have increased by 20-30%,
Yeah,
then
that's
he
true.
could be losing out in that respect. But he gets that security now of that, so it's always a gamble. I like a 3-year deal. I think 3 years are normally the sweet spots for really good players you want to keep hold of, but and then renegotiate it after 2 years. But they obviously really want him at the club and they want to keep him there till near enough the end of his career there. So good for them.
Steve Rudge, Wakefield Trinity fan in the chat, he's top notch and he wants to play for England. The happy Steve Rudge referenced that contract. I think the only thing with these long-term contracts, especially in rugby league, injuries. It's a big statement. Because it's a tough sport. We've seen Conor Wrench, for example, at Warrington last year, young lad.
The clubs are insured against it for the contracts.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, you'd hope so.
It can sometimes block somebody else being brought in, though, can't it?
But the thing is, well, yeah, okay. Anyway, so there you go. He's there for 5 years, ladies and gentlemen. We had a beer a moment ago. We've now got £10 behind the back. Go on, son, Keith Lambert, going in there. Go on, mate. It makes sense. He's in South Africa. He's looking at the Lions. He loved the Lion King reference, and now he's saying, "Boys, have a beer." Good man. Well done to Keith. And of course, Keith joined as a member last week. If you want to become a member, do the QR code. It makes sense. Outstanding stuff. Right, where are we going to go next? World Cup's been announced, Greg. It'll be at Suncorp, the final.
Yeah. What a great stadium.
A fitting stadium for a World Cup final, would you say? Suncorp?
I've never been. I've seen it on TV. It's on my bucket list to go there one day. What a fantastic stadium. You just to have that place full, please, for a World Cup final. Couldn't think of any other better venue in World Rugby League, if I'm being perfectly honest, and that includes Wembley. It's just an amazing stadium. From what I've seen, I know people who've been there and say it is a special place.
A special place indeed. Right, let's get into this one. The World Club Championship is back. The challenge is back. KR will go toe-to-toe with the Brisbane Broncos on a Thursday. Now, there's a lot of people who have, we put it out there. Would people have travelled? Should it have been a Saturday? And people say, it couldn't be because they were flying to Vegas on the Sunday and Hull football were playing on the Saturday. What about the weekend before? You'd hope it's a sellout. That's my concern because it's a Thursday. We know that KR will, whether they can fill a 25,000 seat stadium. That's the question. As KR alone, they're going to need some begrudged black and white fans maybe donning a Brisbane Broncos shirt will go in there as well. Disappointing it's not a Thursday because there's a lot of Super League Raw members that we were going to do it if it was a weekend. We were going to make a weekend of it, support it. More difficult on a school night. But would you expect a full house, Steph, at that game? And then, of course, by all means, fill your boots. Brilliant to have it back, and what a contest it should be.
I mean, they took nearly 20,000 to Old Trafford. They're going to sell out the stadium in their own town of 25. Even the ones who aren't really that bothered about it because it's such a big event. Like you say, I'm sure there'll be FC fans who go just because they're rugby league fans.
Good evening, Ian Judson. Hope you're well. I'm sure you've already dusted off your Brisbane Broncos shirt. Carry on, Steph. Carry on.
But no, I mean the great thing is from a town. Sorry, is it a town or a city? Hull.
It's
town. City. For that city, it's fantastic to be on the world stage, isn't it? And stuff. I mean, KR fans are in dreamland. Already winning a treble. Given their history, similar to my clubs, and then to now be going into playing, against Brisbane Broncos. Fantastic, isn't it? And I have no doubt they'll sell that ground out. It'll be. I think it's the right call. I know there was some KR fans disappointed it wasn't going to be at their ground, but you've got to look at it from an aesthetic point of view and a TV point of view. When you are on the world stage, it needs a world-class venue. And regardless of the KR and FC rivalry, they have got the better stadium. I think that's their thing. But also
You've got to have something.
well, yeah, but even the people who are diehard KR fans with the nostalgia factor of Craven Park have to concede that more of their fans are going to be able to, everyone's going to be able to go, whereas some fans wouldn't. They'd have been disappointed. So I think even if the disappointment of not playing at your own stadium, it'll look brilliant. They'll make a great show of it, and I'm sure that black stadium will turn red and white that evening.
Oh, they'll be taking the paint, I'm sure. But no, I mean, he's right, isn't he, Greg? I mean, look, it had to be the MKM. It had to be that as a stadium. I have to say, there's a lot of wobbling going on, though. A lot of FC fans taking pride that they've got the better stadium, as if that compensates for not having silverware in the cabinet. The 2 and 4 in Hull at the moment is absolute comedy gold from the sidelines. But no, look, as a Brisbane Broncos fan, you're probably disappointed that it's a Thursday night. But what I'm excited about with this, and this might upset a couple of Wigan fans when I say this, when Penrith and Wigan went together, with the greatest respect, they don't play the brand of rugby these two do. I think this has got the potential to be one of the best World Club challenges in recent memory, because they both play an expansive style of rugby. Now, whether they change the tactics of that for a World Club challenge is there to be seen. But what we do know is that they've got so much flair. We saw what Brisbane did in the playoff series, phenomenal. We saw what KR did to countless teams and to Wigan in the final. Let's be honest about that. This should be must-see TV.
Oh, yeah. I mean, let's hope that they bring the superstars. Let's hope that Walsh is there and Carrigan and the other superstars. You know, I think a couple of Aussie teams. Certainly, I know when Warrington played Brisbane a few years ago, when they brought 3 teams over and they had like a couple of games, and then the big one, they left a lot of stars at home. It was still a fantastic occasion.
Yeah.
But let's hope that the superstars come with them. I'm really looking forward to it. I think that it's half-term week, so if I've got any friends left in Hull after doing this show for 5 years, if a couple of tickets could wing the way in my direction, I'd be eternally grateful.
Outstanding.
I will be wearing a Broncos shirt though, so do forgive me.
But you won't get out of the ground, mate.
But Zoe'd love to go because she didn't get to meet Reece Walsh on Saturday. So, but yeah, I'm excited. As you can tell, I'm excited about it now. It has to be in a big stadium, and that's no disrespect to KR's ground because they produce a brilliant atmosphere. I'm just so glad they didn't take it out of Hull, because there was talk of taking it to Headingley at one point.
Yeah, there was, wasn't there? That'd have been a bad show.
No, yeah. I'm so glad for the Hull KR fans. It'll be fantastic for the city of Hull to have a game of that magnitude in that stadium. So yeah, as you can see, I'm already really excited for it. It's not even Warrington playing.
Well, there's no chance of that, mate.
Looking really, and if I can get there by hook or by crook with Zoe, then
there was no chance of that, mate. No, Warrington are a long way off.
I thought you meant no chance of me getting there.
No, there's a chance. There's a chance of you getting there, mate. But in terms of no, I mean, dear me, Warrington.
I think Zoe and her team have got a better chance of getting there before.
And so do I. Right, Steph wasn't there, so I'm going to stay with. Well, actually, we'll do Steph actually. From a TV perspective, because of course Mr. Sale wasn't with us on Saturday, the Hill Dickinson Stadium without the Everton. From a TV perspective, how did it come across, Steph?
I thought it come across outstanding. The only thing I didn't like was the constant music. I thought Derek was on the old sound system during that game with the French horns going off and the ruck interference, everything. I don't think I was too keen on that. But from the stadium point of view, I thought it looked spectacular. It was great to see it, full. I thought the pre-match build up, the fireworks, everything like that, put the grand final to shame a little bit. I think it was great, I love it when they have the fireworks. It felt like an NFL game, I'm into the NFL, but it felt like that kind of vibe. But yeah, from a TV watching audience, it came across really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the stadium, Greg, acoustically, it was outstanding, wasn't it? I mean, it
Yeah.
really was. The noise
It
was very good.
It was an experience, a really good sporting experience. Going back to the announcements of when it went back to 6 again, and the
Yeah, that
announcement
was
of the
good.
ruck infringement. We were talking to a lot of Liverpudlians who were at their first rugby league game. They'd gone because it was at Everton's ground, and they said they enjoyed the fact that that was explained to them. So they've catered there for maybe they knew a lot of neutrals are going. I think they've done that in a few internationals as well. Down under, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's happened as well. But going back to the atmosphere, sensational.
Yeah,
it was packed. The view, apparently, we had a great view. I've been talking to a lot of people who went, and the view from no matter where you were in the stadium was a great view. I really, really hope the powers that be move the grand final there.
Yeah.
Once the contract with Old Trafford runs out, because it's
Yeah,
a bit.
but you've got to remember in a couple of years, if truth is to be told, that it's going to be a new Old Trafford, isn't it?
It is, but even so, while Old Trafford's being rebuilt, let's move it there. Yeah, a bit like Old Trafford, it's a little difficult to get to. It's a bit out of the city centre, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. If they get the service right and cut the queues down, if they get that bit right, we went to Anfield a few years ago, and the service there, I've got to say, as a United fan, the service there was outstanding. There was no queues. They had plenty of staff on. There's no hanging around. They get that bit right, it's an absolutely brilliant venue.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a brilliant menu. I agree. I thought there's no doubt about that. Logistic. I mean, the only problem we've got, certainly from a grand final perspective, for me, where this stadium is concerned, it's at the end of the M62. Manchester for Yorkshire and Lancashire teams, it's the centre, isn't it? It's right there, lovely. Piccadilly lines here, there. You don't have to get to Piccadilly to then go and get a train on to Liverpool, etc., etc., etc. So that goes against it a little bit. I think for an international game, a one-off game, yeah, people are going to be inspired to go. And I think I think for those people who went, there'll be a proportion of the people in the stadium that were in the stadium, yes, to watch the game, but also for the stadium. Those who have been now, there isn't that draw again. There's a lot of people who wanted to go and have a look at this new Everton stadium. The same with, Tottenham's and etc. When that's just the way that it is. So I just think where it's situated, brilliant stadium. Obviously ran out of beer, never good in the rugby league community. They had a lot of problem with the beer pumps on the day. But obviously that's the difference between football and rugby fans, isn't it? they weren't expecting that.
I remember when the semi-finals were at Bolton a few years ago. They were like rabbits in the headlights. They didn't know what it, and all these rugby league fans, they were like, "Oh, what's going on? Help!"
Absolutely.
I think that will be though, because you can't take your drinks to your seats at football, can you?
We could. You can at
the game, yeah.
Yeah.
I know you kind of have it, but that's what that's where the staff were probably caught out, because they can with the volume, because you're not drinking during a football game.
Yeah. On that point, there are rumours I've heard that they're going to take the semi-finals to the Hill.
Well, let's go there. Let's go there, because that's where I was going next. Typical.
Sorry, Dave.
No, that's fine. Hey, we're there. Typical rugby football league. So was Ashes to a success? 100%. Yes, people were talking about the line markings. That was an own goal. Baz is in the chat. There's a few in the chat around that. Yeah, that should have been better. Of course, it should have been better. But the bottom line is, on the whole, very well done. Brilliant venue. Great occasion. Fantastic. So what did the Rugby Football League do? Oh, let's rush into a decision. Suddenly magic could be back on the cards. It won't work at Liverpool. I mean, I'm the most positive person in the world. But, if you can't get people to Leeds, if you can't, Newcastle, is the perfect point. Look at Newcastle. We can't fill Newcastle for the same reason. It's too big for Magic. People come, people go. The perfect place for Magic weekend, and people say, oh, well, it gives them an advantage, is a John Smith Stadium. It's a DW. That's the size of that's the size it needs to be, because as fans come and go, it'll still look full. For me, knee-jerk reaction in terms of Magic. I love Magic. We all, as a community, want a Magic to get together and have a rugby league festival. Of course we do. But don't be a knee-jerk. The one that's most likely is, as you said, Greg, talk of a Challenge Cup final double header at Everton.
Semi-final,
sorry. Yeah. Double header at Everton. So not beyond the realms of possibility. What I'm about to say.
They've also been talking about having England-France Women's Rugby League International as a curtain raiser. So there'll be 3 games, England-France Women, and then the 2 semi-finals.
Yeah.
And that's what I've heard. And
I'm not being disparaging here, right? And I'm not, because nobody waxed more lyrical about the St. Helens Wigan grand final this year than me. It was a great game of rugby league, played to a really good intensity. However, the Women International is going to draw how many people? Look what happened at Wembley.
That's just what I've heard, mate.
I know, I get that, but that's from a pulley, and I'm not being disparaging, but again, wrong venue.
Yeah, but they could play it. What they could do is play that game in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, the people who were there for the first game go home.
Yeah,
let's be real. Let's keep this real. Now,
you want to keep going for both games.
Yeah, and then the flip side to this as well is that, and again, it's not beyond the realms of possibility here, lads, but what if Hull KR, Leeds, FC, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, all them 3 sides are in the semi-finals.
And Wakefield.
Yeah, okay, let's go there. Let's throw Wakefield.
What if it's Catalan to lose?
Well, right. So, and you can't fix it that it's going to be the teams that have, to quote Steph, travelling fans. You can't fix it that it's going to be them. So, yeah, exactly that. Wakefield Trinity, you travel well, but let's be fair. Travelling well is how many thousand? Would we say 10?
I think it's slightly different for a semi-final.
Well, it's not, because we tried it at Bolton, didn't we? And it didn't sell out.
It didn't sell out, but there was a fair crowd. The problem is, I mean, the semi-finals, we were there 2 years on the bounce, weren't we? It was Catalan Saints, and the thing with that was because Catalan beat Saints, the Saints fans went. If Saints fans had won that, they'd have stayed for the Leeds Warrington semi-final. And that was the reason behind that. The year after that, I think, did we beat Hull in the semi-final? Yeah. I can't think what the other semi. It was Saints and Halifax.
The problem is, whether it's Magic Weekend, whether it's double headers in big stadiums, do not work, because the majority of fans are not us, who would die hard, watch every single game. The majority of fans are like that. They're there to see their own team and then they go. So when a stadium's too big, I mean, even at the Reebok, half the Reebok or the John Smiths would look half empty because half the people would go. So this is why having games on the same day with multiple teams doesn't work. It's great for us. Magic Weekend is loved by so many people. It's a great concept that's just flawed because no one wants to watch every game.
Oh, I think Carval's in. Carl. I'm going to do it because, it's in the close season. We can do it. But Carl's come on and, rather than bask in the glory of his team winning a treble and this, that, there you go. Here we go. Here's the wobble. The World Cup Championship at MKM will be the one and only time since Gates Hall started renting it that there's been an atmosphere for a rugby match.
Carl,
oh, dearie me. He's just unbelievable, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's just again, you don't have to say anything, Carl. You don't have to say anything to hurt enough, mate. You don't have to do it, but you can't help yourself, can you?
And Carl, if you're going to poke fun, get the name right. It's Gates Hall Thunder Sharks. Get the name right.
Happy days. Hill Dickinson Stadium, a massive tick from me. Brilliant venue.
Brilliant.
Teaming problems that they've got to learn from, of course there is. But overall, brilliant. And for all those who came with us, what a day. Loved your company, each and every one of you. Keep your eyes peeled. We will be announcing ahead of schedule the grand final for 2026 and the Challenge Cup final. We're going to be doing a deal on that. Make sure that you keep your eyes peeled for that. We want as many people as possible. We're going for 100 next year at the grand final. That's what we're going for. We're going to try and double it. We want as many of you there with us. It was an incredible occasion.
I'm still recovering.
It was incredible, absolutely incredible. Mike Todd in the chat, Toddy, good lad. Great night Saturday in the boozer. That must be the beer that you never bought me that he's put in the super chat. Well done, Mike. No, he did offer me a couple of. In fact, actually, he kept turning up with beers. Like, will you stop buying me beers? Unbelievable, outstanding stuff. Yeah, so well done. Like I say, we've got nothing but praise for Everton. Yes, again, logistically with the trains, I'm led to believe in the chat, Carl Shaw talking about bit disorganised at the stadium. It was pretty organised, but by all accounts, once they got to the train station,
we've had that problem with Wembley before now, though, when they've had rail works on and trains have been cancelled. So
it's hard to plan for an event, that's happening weeks in advance, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's welcome to Britain, people. Welcome to Britain.
Great occasion. We'll talk about the game in a minute. Before we do, Casford Tigers, George Griffin. Go on, lad. Halfway out the door, let's put the boot in, why don't you? George almost intimating that it's another Salford. There was a load of drums being banged around Castleford. And then, of course, Chris Chester having to come out and say, no, it's just a different days of payroll. They've been paid this, that, the other. What did you make of that, Steph? Casford Tigers paying their departing players late. Much ado about nothing, to quote Mr. Shakespeare.
Sounds that way. I think at the moment anyone not getting paid and everyone panics because of the and rightly so, because of what happened with Salford. But it sounds like if you listen to what he said, it's just the players who have left. So it seems like they've selectively not paid them at the right time or whatever, which it's good. It's not a good thing, and I think he's right to highlight it, because I think if they have been treated like that, then that's not good from a backroom staff point of view at Castleford. And maybe there's some conversations in the running of that club that need to happen. They are under new board, aren't they? They're still relatively new. They're only a year in or whatever it is, and some new people there. So, I don't think it's anything to worry about from a cash perspective. I think it's more, you'd like to think it wasn't because they were going, but it does look that way, doesn't it, a little bit? But you'd like to think a club like Castleford wouldn't do anything like that.
No. Andy Bevan shoots back at Carl Varley. Good lad, Andy. Don't go down. Even though the World Club Challenge isn't at Craven Park, it is our training ground. Very good. Very good. Take a bow, son. Take a bow. That's how you respond. Wonderful stuff from you there, without doubt. Let's just upset Andy though a little bit. The news went down well that KR's new assistant coach is Ian Watson, boys, in the week. that one made them smile, didn't it? Greg, I mean, look, people have short memories. Watson was revered at Salford, mate. He was revered at Salford, and this is a way back into the sport. Should the KR fans be as downcast as they are that Mr. Watson is going into their club?
He's a decent coach. He's had a. He didn't have a great time of it in his last job, let's face it, but he's a decent coach. People could say the same about McNamara going to Warrington. He had a torrid time the last few months at his last job. These things happen in coaching. Look at Tony Smith, and he went to Hull and then Hull KR, or the other way around. Can't remember which way it was. I think it's a decent move. I think he'll do well at Hull KR. I think sometimes a coach, when he's had success, needs a crutch to lean on. I think Ian Watson might be that. We saw at Warrington when he brought Willie Poaching in. Tony Smith brought Willie Poaching in, and Warrington fans were like, "What's all that about?" And we went on to have a few successful seasons under that kind of team. So yeah, I think he's as Phil Webster says, I think it's a great appointment. I really do.
Well, Phil Webster's happy.
Are you laughing at me?
No, Phil. No, just look. Phil Webster's happy. It's a great appointment. It's a great appointment. Phil says. I've just got a wry smile.
Yeah, but I do think it is. I think it is a good appointment. I think
it signs up in Darnell McIntosh. Phil would say it was a great signing.
No, look, I agree with you. I agree with you, Greg. And I know you will.
I really do.
Ian Watson is a great appointment. So actually, Phil, I do agree with you. Ian Watson is a great appointment. But if a dog turd on Craven Park, it'd be the greatest turd with glitter that's ever happened in the history of man, mate. You do make me smile. You really, really do. But you know what? I love you for it. You're absolutely a Robin through and through. God bless you, my friend. Steph, Ian Watson, do you agree? I think obviously, you wouldn't want him to have too much control of the process, but, he's a good coach.
I think he is a good coach. I think my only concern is, I know from his time at Huddersfield, there was problems with culture. You know, a lot of Huddersfield. That's from the Huddersfield fans, not from myself. And with KR on a massive high at the moment, obviously doing what they've done has been phenomenal. You don't want things to change. You'd want Danny Ward to stay, and you'd want everything to be exactly the same going into next season. So, if he was going as head coach, that's a different thing. As an assistant coach, he's going to have to. It's Willie Peters' way or the highway. So that shouldn't be an issue. And it's no doubt that we've seen what Ian can do at the likes of Salford. It just didn't work out for him. I mean, Darryl Powell's a great example, isn't he? You know, from went to Warrington, it was a disaster. Then look what he's done at Wakefield. So he's a good coach, Ian Watson. I'm sure he'll be brilliant, as Phil Webster would say, for KR.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Hey, Rebecca Frey's with us there. She is our Rebecca. Thanks for the support of the last 2 weeks. It's meant a lot to Rebecca. Of course, we will keep that within the community, but it's been our pleasure, Rebecca. You're a part of the family. Thank you very much indeed. We've got a beer, boys. We've got a beer. Anyway, let's get into your. Let's just stay with Yorkshire for a minute. You mentioned Wakefield Trinity there. Get your tickets now. Great to see some festive traditions continuing. Leeds take on Wakefield Boxing Day. Great game there. We'll be having our eyes on that one with the way that Wakey have played against Leeds this year. Maybe not so much a friendly. Maybe that's in the same way that Liam Warrington over the years have really got a bit tasty. Perhaps the fact that Wakey are now punching is going to mean that Leeds are going to try and punch a little bit harder.
Is it the Witherby Whaler challenge?
Yeah.
The Battle of the Chip Shop.
It is indeed. Yeah. Is it Witherby?
Witherby, I think.
Willoughby.
All I know is it's Leeds against Wakefield. It should be a great Boxing Day tradition. I do miss the Widnes Warrington Boxing Day.
The Chippy Challenge.
The Chippy Challenge. Yeah, the Battered Fish Brigade. Beautiful stuff. Sticking at Yorkshire, hanging a banging, banging a hanging. Bradford's new colours on their logo, boys. Our thoughts on that?
It's a modern twist, isn't it? On what was on it? I feel sorry for the guy who just literally a couple of weeks ago had the Bulls tattoo done in honor of them. They get in Super League, and then they changed the logo straight away. But there's a fair few Lee fans that happened to when they changed to the Leopards as well. So there's quite a few Lee Centurions tattoos knocking about in some boozers in Lee kind of thing. But yeah, no, it's similar. They've not gone radical. It's just a bit of a modern twist on what they already had. So
they're the latest in a couple of clubs of it. Warrington have rebranded their badge for the 50th. Castleford, Toulouse this week did it. Seems to be the it seems to be the trend at the minute that we're going to rebrand our badge. A lot of football clubs have done it. Leeds United do it 3 times a season. So
Yeah. I don't know about you there, Beverly Hill Cops vibes there with you, Steph. Surge talking about twists. Would you like an espresso? Little lemon twist? Oh, Beverly Hills Cop, outstanding. Right, yeah. So I think, do you know what? I think we've done well there. Oh no, one big one. I think we're very close to getting to the to England. Melandis, what an interview that was on the BBC. What an interview that was on the BBC. Ooh.
Shot across the bows for the RFL and the clubs there.
And do you know what? He's right. It has to be governed separate from the clubs. It has to be. We did it. I mean, Steph, you spoke on a previous weekly where you were on about the NFL model and how everything's done for the betterment of the game, and then everybody texted. And that's what Volandis was pretty much talking about. That, why, if you're going to be sustainable, you need to look at this from a wider perspective.
There's a simple answer, Dave. There's an absolute simple answer in that. You go to every single club and you say, we are now going to create a governing body that's going to sit above you that makes like your power is now gone. However, in exchange for that, you have now got a 10-year license to be in Super League, or a 15-year or a 20-year license, as long as you meet minimum standards, not maximum standards, minimum. And if you don't drop below those, you're guaranteed you're safe. Yeah. There's nothing to worry about. And if you do that, the clubs will do it. The only clubs the problem is, because of the voting structure and the vetoes that other clubs have got at the moment, you will never get the clubs that are at the bottom of the league and that are at risk are potentially going down because they've not got a good stadium, or they've not got good finances, or whatever that be. They will never vote for losing their vote because of that reason. However, if you give them a stamp of that can never change, if you vote in favour of it, you are guaranteed your place as long as you don't fall below the minimum standards set out in Super League. And these are them, and they won't change for the next 10 years. So you've nothing to worry about in that respect. Then they'll do it. They'll do that. Then it's just because they're scared of being kicked out of Super League and they won't get rid of the vote.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like I say, it was a shot across the bows for the RFL and the clubs. I thought. I've heard this week, don't know how true it is, that there's a meeting. Hello, getting seasick. That there's another meeting in the near future to discuss Australia, the NRL investing and bringing up the salary cap as well. How true that is, I don't know, but the V'landys interview, I enjoyed. The guy made a lot of sense when I listened to him. And Steph's right. We need to take the power from the clubs, and from certain clubs who have had it their own way for a long time.
You have to give them assurances. There's the big but of that is you've got to give those. They're not going to give it up because for the reason like you just said with salary cap, they're worried that someone comes in from the NRL and then says, right, the salary cap is now 5 million. Well, that's cash gone. Or sorry, they'll say he's got really deep pockets.
But he did also say that if they were going to come in, they'd be guaranteeing a certain amount, an increased amount per season. And what we do know about V'landys, that completely changes the TV deal.
Yes. Yeah. Well, again, as part of that, I've heard this week as well that they will be negotiating with DAZN. Is it DAZN? Is that what you're saying?
DAZN. Yeah.
They will be negotiating with that for every single Super League game to be shown live. That's what we need. Sky promised every single Super League game live. Not on a red button and not when there's clashes. You watch the NRL, the games are staggered.
Yeah. So not through a third party production company done on the cheap. That's the difference.
Exactly. Yeah.
When you see when you get when Lee played Wakefield in the semi-final, the elimination semi-final this year, he went from one truck that we normally get at the ground to about 12. The full Sky production was there, and the whole shebang, and that's the difference, and that's why we have these issues with the clock dropping off during games and stuff because it's all done. It's not Sky doing the broadcast; it's a third-party company that Sky pay, and that's the difference.
There was issues with games dropping out. There was an incident. I can't remember what the incident was. There was an incident. I think somebody got sin-binned or something, and the game froze for 20 minutes.
Yeah, that was our game against Salford.
That was right. You cannot have that. You wouldn't get that in the Premiership. You wouldn't get that international cricket when Sky or whoever's showing it. You would not get that. So why should rugby union? You would not get that. So why should rugby league fans be expected to accept?
Yeah, completely agree.
A third-rate service when they're paying as much money into Sky as football fans, rugby union fans, cricket fans. It has to be an even playing field. They gave us 87 million in 1995 to switch to a summer sport and to become the summer alternative to football. We were there to fill the gap that football left. They seem to forget that at Sky now. We seem to be a second, third thought behind the 100, T20, netball. Yeah. Even that's no disrespect to those sports. But, oh,
come on. Rugby league should not be behind that ball.
No, you can't disrespect any sport, mate.
No.
No.
It's not about disrespect. It's about pecking order. And I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. What matters the most is viewing figures.
Yeah.
And the rugby league's well ahead of every one of those you've just said.
Yeah, I know. It breaks me out. But anyway, there you go. Somebody in the chat saying about Paul Wellens going to the Cowboys. Yeah, well done, Paul. Well done. Good effort.
Yeah, cushy little number there.
Yeah. Leaving St. Helens, with his cheroots and heading on down under. Fair play to him, mate. Fair play to him. We wish Paul well with that. We'll keep a close eye on that
as we speak.
Yeah. Good on him. Outstanding stuff. Really, really good. Right, we're going to go and talk. Boys, do you need a quick comfort break, boys? Yeah, you and I'll comfort Bacon. I'll just fill in for a minute. Let's just by all means stick around, Greg, if you wish. Let's just give a couple of quick shout outs. First and foremost, well done to Ireland. Of course, Ireland beating Wales at the weekend. For those who didn't hear that, yeah, Ireland 36, Wales 12. Many congratulations to Ireland. Cumbria were in action. A Cumbrian side beat Nigeria 70 points to 6 at the weekend. Well done. Great to see international rugby league being played in Cumbria. That was good. An improved Australian team lost out by 6 points in the wheelchair game. England 48, 42 to Australia. Good effort. England going back to back over the Aussies, but massive improvement from the Aussies on the week before. No doubt about that whatsoever. Papua New Guinea, of course, they lifted I can't remember the name of the shield now, but they won a shield, didn't they? No, bowl, isn't it? Pacific Bowl.
It's the bowl, yeah.
Came into my head. 50 points to 18 win over Fiji, Papua New Guinea, so they get themselves the bowl, and also in the women's game, Tonga 42, Papua New Guinea 6. So they didn't get it their own way. Won one, lost one. Never mind. But some really good rugby league being played down under at the moment. Of course, we've got the final, Greg, on I think it's Sunday morning on Sky, back to back, the women's and the men's Pacific Championship finals.
Yeah,
New Zealand up against Samoa.
Yep, that should be a bruising encounter. No, there's no love lost there between those two nations.
No love lost at all.
I'm expecting some brutal tackles in that game.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That should be a belter. Should be an absolute belter that at the weekend. I think it's just 4 in the morning rings a bell. I've got it on record. I'll watch it when I get up as live, but that should be a belting game. So yeah, rugby league this weekend. Of course, we've got Ashes game 3 on Saturday. But yes, if you like your rugby league rough and tough, that game is going to be a belter. New Zealand and Samoa, a sellout, says Dawn Kirkby. That will be a brilliant game. The Hackers, everything you want. Oh yes, outstanding. That's going to be on Sunday morning. Cannot wait for that. Right, let's get into England. We'll get into it. Steph will be back in a moment, I'm sure. We might have time for a couple of questions as well. Don't put them in there just yet. What's the Palace thoughts on the Six Nations? Remind me a little bit later on that, Andy. We will come back to that a little bit later on. Let's go back to the England game. Right, Ashes game 2. Changes were made. AJ Brimson came in at fullback. How did you think he went, Greg?
Would I be too cruel if I said ineffective? To be honest, I forgot he was on the pitch.
Ooh, that's harsh.
Yeah, watching it live. I didn't see a lot from him. I watched the game back, and he did make a few good runs. But yeah, is he better than Welsby? Welsby had a shocker at Wembley. I mean, Jack Welsby will be the first to agree. Yeah. Was it the right call to drop him? I mean, AJ Brimson in that documentary says that he's there. He's going to bring flair, dynamism, or however you say. I can never
dynamism.
Say that.
Dynamism. Yes.
And he just didn't bring that. I didn't think. Maybe I'm being a little harsh, but I didn't think he was as effective as I would like him to be. He certainly hasn't been as effective as Jack Welsby can be in the Super League. So maybe hindsight, we've all got 2020 hindsight. Maybe it might have been a mistake bringing him in for Welsby.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm being a bit harsh. Maybe people will disagree with me. Watching it live, ineffective was the word that came to mind when I thought about AJ Brimson.
Right. One player that was an improvement was Callum Watkins on John Bateman. I thought Callum Watkins was great.
Superb.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid. Made some good runs. Did what a second rower should do. And yeah, it was really, his selection raised a lot of eyebrows, I think. But he kind of dispelled any of those people thinking he shouldn't be in the side. I thought he had a really, really good game.
Yeah, he really did. I really enjoyed watching Callum Watkins during the course of the game. Yeah. Very, very good indeed.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Steph. Welcome back. Just talking about Callum Watkins, Steph, really good performance from Watkins.
Yeah, he was outstanding. He had a really good game. I thought he was one of the better players at Wembley as well, Watkins. I thought he's and probably one that
No, he didn't play at Wembley.
did he not?
No, it was Bateman.
Oh, of course it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the most wanted guys coming into the squad. I think a few eyebrows were raised at that, but I thought he performed really, really well, and it was definitely an upgrade on Bateman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right, we'll get to Mikey Lewis in a bit. Alex Walmsley got 16 minutes in the game as a front row forward. Mike McMeekin got 20. I just found his interchanges really odd.
Infuriating.
Yeah, really, really odd. And I'll get into that.
McMeekin looked solid when he was on the pitch. He
Who
just
did?
didn't get enough time on the pitch.
Who is that?
McMeekin.
Yeah, it was odd. It was really, really odd in terms of some of the minutes that were played in the game. And I think you said it, Steph. It was almost like it was pre-planned, and there was no moving from the pre-plan of when players were going to come on and off.
No, it was. You could tell it was structured, and it was that this is our game plan. We're going to stick to it. And to be fair, I was very critical last week over the passion from the players.
Yeah.
At Wembley, I thought it was they didn't seem up for it at all, and they were a bit like rabbit in the headlights. So I'm going to pay a big compliment to them this week, and to Sean Wayne in terms of, I question Sean. He's been renowned through his career as a motivator, and I was like, where was that at Wembley? It was like there was no passion. That first minute, it was straight into it, which was great, and that's what made it. That half, especially such a decent half of rugby from England, because we need that. They are a better rugby league side than what we are, man for man, pretty much.
Yeah, 100%.
So we need something different. And one thing that they've always feared, the Australians over the English, is the ferocity of what we can play when we, the pride, the passion in that badge and what it means to us. That was sadly missing, and I was uber critical of the Wembley performance.
Yeah.
That was on show at Everton. It was great to see. The Aussies wouldn't have liked it. They've already been talking about it in their media about some of the rough stuff. Brilliant. But then they responded, the Reece Walsh one. I thought Reece Walsh was very lucky not to get a red card.
Oh, that was a red all day long.
On Young. If that was Super League, that would have been a red card. 100%. We'll come on to Jack Smith being refereed by the ref.
I'll do it. You may as well do it now. I mean, what a joke. Yeah. What an absolute joke. I mean, have you ever seen anything? I mean, I'll be honest with you. You mentioned Chris Kendall earlier on. You talked about the video refereeing, and maybe even Liam Moore. I would hope that Liam Moore and Chris Kendall on air would have said, "I'll make the decision," because that was proper like an Australian referee pulling rank.
It was a complete arrogance from the Aussie ref.
I put in the chat when I watched it back. I put in the chat, I've never known a referee to guide the video ref.
They don't do that in the NRL.
Don't send it up. If you're going to send it up to video ref and do that, don't send it up.
Exactly.
Live by your conviction, because you can't send it up for a second opinion and then start guiding him as to what you want him to say. It was the most bizarre thing I've seen in many a year in rugby league.
It was incredible. Incredible. Is it because they've got the bunker in ours? And I don't know.
It's a lack of respect to a fellow professional. You can think what you want about Jack Smith. It's a lack of respect to a fellow professional. That. And Jack Smith should have, for me, turned around and gone, I thought you'd sent it up to me. I'd have loved that. A little bit of needle. We had it on the pitch.
Yeah.
A little bit of needle, ref to ref. Oh, Blake. That'd be wonderful.
You've sent it up to me. Let me make the decision.
Yeah. Yeah, jog on, son. Yeah, you just concentrate. You just concentrate on looking at yourself on the screen.
Yeah. You concentrate controlling the players. You've not done a great job self.
Bizarre.
He should have got his British passport out and slapped it round his face.
Right, yeah.
Get out of my way, Johnny Foreigner, refereeing this. Who do you think you
are?
He
gets rewarded. But he gets rewarded with taking the third game. Now again, as a
Tom Grant is now the video ref.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh, dear. Yeah. Say, hey, make sure somebody text the sleeping bag.
Anyway, you go inside and on Saturday, take your Christmas presents.
Absolutely, yeah. Bless him. Which again, I find. Oh, anyway.
The line, wasn't he? Tom Grant was running the line on.
No, Marcus Griffiths. That was.
Oh, sorry. I get mixed up between them.
Right. Let's get back to the game, shall we? So, right. Did England improve? Yes, they did. Let's take a look at this. Here's one we prepared earlier. Let's compare and contrast game 1 and game 2. So, of course, the scoreline, an improvement, lost by 10 as opposed to 20. Result. England had more possession. They had a better completion rate. Aussies improved slightly as well on that. They turned the meters around. So, in terms of meters made, big improvement there from England, test on test. Post-contact meters up significantly again from England, which again you saw on the field. You did get that feeling that our pack certainly was standing up more, some outstanding running as well from the likes of Dom Young, who was absolutely up for it. Incredible performance I felt from Dom Young in the game.
Yeah, superb.
Out of backfield. Look at the tackle bust there again. A big swing in this game. Clean breaks, there weren't many at all. It did feel a lot tighter, the game. Not an awful lot a quarter given from each. Tackles, more from the Aussies, which again shows that England were on top. They made the Australians tackle more. Tackle efficiency equal. So both improved a little bit, but equal. But look at the penalties. Again, 15 errors as in the first test for the Aussies, and they gave 9 penalties away to England's 4. So those are the stats as you look at them, lads. England got better, but that isn't an Australian standard for me. So I think as an English supporter, look, I agree with Steph. More passion, more fight. Morgan Smithies, massive hit from KPP. There's some moments in that game when we watched the Sean Wayne documentary, and there was that initial tussle, and you can hear him saying, "Don't leave him on his own," and they all go in, and the proper. There was bags of that, and that helped England. It helped England in this game, no doubt about it. But there's also no doubt that this is not if this Australian team was playing down under at the minute, they would not be playing the final. Let's just put that out there right now. I have not seen in Australia against England the side that I believe could have lived with Samoa and New Zealand. Anybody want to disagree with me?
I'm not so sure about that, Dave. I think the one thing I will say is this is not the greatest Australian side that's ever come over here. No. There are some brilliant individuals in this side, but it's not player for player the greatest team that we've ever seen on these shores.
No.
I think some people may disagree with me on that, but I've seen some great Aussie teams with the likes of Mal Meninga and Wally Lewis in it, who were just, amazing teams. And we've managed to beat them in at least one test.
Yeah.
So that says that. I think that says a lot for this group of English players as well. Yeah. I'd be interested, and Dave, I'm not going to disparage your excellent work in getting all these stats together, but I'd be interested to see the first half stats for England compared to the second half stats. Because as somebody said in the chat, as soon as Munster scored that try, the heads went down.
Yeah.
And you can't have that. And we were 10 points down with 25 minutes to go and never looked like threatening their line. And that for me is the biggest worry, that with 25 minutes to go, you're 10 points down. You can still win that game. And as somebody's already said in the chat, Mikey Lewis came on with 11 minutes to go.
It was like, look, I mean, I'm going to go. I'm going to go because I'm going to go, right? So, not you, no. So I watched the documentary. Yeah. And do you know what? Yeah. Right? We said this last week. Nobody can point a finger at Sean Wayne in terms of his patriotism. Nobody at all. In that full-time whistle, that man is close to tears. It means that much to him. So that bit, I'll have no criticism of Sean Wayne. Is he England through and through 100%? Did that hurt him 100%?
Yeah, I agree.
But try and stop yourself from being in that position is what I would say. Because for me, what I could not believe in this game, couldn't believe it. We'll maybe come back to the Cam Munster, how easy that was. George Williams, what are you doing?
George Williams should have been off the pitch.
I mean, look, George Williams is a one player.
But hang on. That try should never have been a try in the memory of man. No. It was the clearest obstruction there's ever been. Yeah. Every other time this whole season, and in the NRL, not
gotta
just
give it
Super League, they give up the play. They go onto the knees. They stop and drop every single time because it's not a player running through the line and then someone's hit them with inside RXO shoulder. That's completely different kind of obstruction. That's running behind the player. You can't do it. It's obstruction. So, and again, this comes back to the debate we've just been having on Jack Smith. And Jack Smith was scared to death of making a decision that went against that official.
Because if you listen to the ref, he turns around and says, "I'm not interested in the obstruction. It didn't happen."
Yeah.
You hear the ref say words along those lines. Don't look
Well,
at
that's him to adjudicate, innit? And I agree with you. That shouldn't have been given. But that said, it's still a soft attempt from George. It really is. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm filthy about. I am filthy about it, right? Because I called it last week. That he was going to drop Daz Clark and put Mikey Lewis on the bench. I called it. So you're putting a square peg in a round hole. Mikey Lewis is either 6 or he's not even in the squad. I'm sorry. I love it. I love everything that Mikey Lewis has done this year. But you either play him or you don't. It's
not a hooker.
That's the decision. You're playing him, starting him, or you're not picking him. It's as simple as that. And what really, really annoyed me, is that they go in for 40. This is a second test. You have to win. If you've got any ambition of winning the Ashes, all we've heard from Sean Wayne, we're here to win the Ashes. Right, well, if you want to win the Ashes, on 53 minutes, you go 14-4 down in game 2, and you're already a game down. You throw the dice, you roll it, you have a go. Oh, no. We go driving down the middle. That's what we were doing, just driving down the middle. We were putting stupid last play passes to wingers that couldn't do anything with the ball. And then in the documentary, you're hearing Sean Wayne going, George. Yeah, you picked him. Sean. We've been saying this. He's out of form. Sorry, but he's been out of form. And no matter what, he can play, right? Making really, really poor decisions. So, right, this is the other thing that really, I'm going to get to Mikey in a minute. It's very rare that I have a little go on weekly. I'll leave it to you boys, but I'm going to have me 2p and then you can tell me.
You 2p away, mate. You 2p.
I'm having 2p. You might have me 4p. 10p. Let's not go 50p a pound. Anyway, well, here we go. Let's go, right? So we know that England got in really good territory. They did, especially in the first half. Brilliant territory. They were playing some really good rugby league. They really, really were. But here's the thing, right? We had 5 bombs, 2 grubber kicks. 2 grubber kicks. You're in that position. Let me just remind everybody where we're at in this series. It's 40 points to 10. We've scored 1 try over 2 games.
And that was it.
Right? We've been trying to go wide. They have been superb on the edges. One thing that you can't fault the Australians for, their cover D in this test series has been exceptional. We have not been running through, we can't run through them. We've found it really difficult to run through them. So with all of that territory, what do we have? We've got George Williams on the ball. We've got Harry Smith on the ball, more George than Harry. On the ball, in good field position, choice, grubber kick, worst case scenario, 6 more, drop out, or a stupid pass out to a winger that can go nowhere. Where were the grubber kicks? From our halfbacks, getting it in behind? Because we didn't try that all game. Different. And we did. And these are players that do that in Super League for fun. We've seen it all season long. Well-placed grubber kicks. Even Jez is good for a grubber kick. No, I felt for Jez because it's one thing playing long minutes in Super League, playing internationally long minutes. He looks shattered. And that's why you needed Daz Clark, a hooker, on the bench to come in. But because Daz Clark wasn't there, he left him out there for more minutes. That's what he did. And it really frustrated me. But I go back to the point. You're 14-4 down on 53 minutes. It's your last chance. If you want to win this Ashes, you have to win it. You have to win at Everton. You can't come away. Look, so don't die wondering. So what does he do? The first change he makes is to prop forwards.
Yeah.
Hello. When Reece Walsh is sent for 10, the first interchange he makes is with his forwards. Hello. Mikey Lewis comes on with 12 minutes to go to throw the ball left and right from the play of the ball.
Yeah.
Now, as much as I feel for Sean Wayne as a passionate Englishman, and it does hurt him to lose to the Ashes, Sean, mate, you've got to make the decisions. And for me, and people say, what do you know about rugby league? Well, I would hope quite a bit there. Talk to you a bit about strategy.
Really more than Sean Wayne, from what I've heard.
No, I'm not saying that. And look, bottom line is, as a fan, I'm not shooting from the hip. Anybody who watches round unpacks, anybody who watches captains run, they know I know my rugby league, I know my plays, I know my analytics, I know I'm not a coach. I've never won anything or anything, but I always try and be very balanced, and I try to have a little bit of structure in what I say. The bottom line is, it wasn't working. It wasn't working. At no point for 53 minutes did we look like we were going to break their line. You've got the best number 6 in the Super League sat on the bench, and you don't bring him on for another 15 minutes. I'll say that again, 15 minutes. Ashes on the line. What do you expect Mikey Lewis to do? 12 minutes to go, 14-4 down.
Position.
What are you expecting to do? It was an absolute nonsense. And this is why, for me, I'm sorry, I feel for him. I do feel for him as a man, because it matters to him. But, wow.
Yeah, see, Dave, I don't feel for Sean Wayne. I think he's a bit of a dinosaur in that respect. After the game, he talked about we needed to match them in the grind. You do not match Australia in the grind. You need a Maverick. You need a Jake Connor. You need a Mikey Lewis to mix it up, to do something different, to take the Aussies by surprise. They will match us in the grind all day long and for the next fortnight, because that is the NRL, is the grind. I was sat next to a Wigan fan, and he said the Aussies have out-Wiganed us. And that says everything to me. There's no imagination. He has no imagination as a coach. He's left the best player in Super League out of the squad. He's left the best halfback in his squad on the bench. He's left his captain, a halfback who, as a Warrington fan, George Williams has struggled to open a bag of crisps this season, and he's left him on the pitch. George Williams should have been nowhere near that second test. But the problem is, Mikey Lewis gave Sean Wayne exactly the excuse he needed to drop him at Wembley. He wasn't the worst player on the pitch, but he was never going to drop George Williams. If Mikey Lewis has scored a hat-trick and won the game at Wembley, that would have given him a real problem. But he didn't. Mikey Lewis didn't give him the problem. And that's the problem.
Beat though, wasn't it?
It's what?
I feel for Mikey, because if Mikey was playing behind the pack in Everton over the pack at Wembley, he probably have had he'd have been able to play.
And if he'd have had the halfback, and hang on, this is important. Harry Smith had a massive impact on that game at Everton.
Yeah, he
because
did.
He brought structure. So if Mikey Lewis was partnering Harry Smith at Wembley, it's a different story. Alongside, a more passionate pack at Everton. So there's loads of different things. The biggest problem for me is you've got, if you look at the hooking role, Jez Littlin is number 1. Yeah. And if you go on form at the back end of the season, Danny Walker is number 2. Yeah, Danny Walker's not been near that team. That thing is scandalous. Darryl Clark should be nowhere near that England squad. He should have been backup hooker to those two if they needed it. And that's a massive problem. George Williams hadn't played for 9 weeks before the Ashes series through injury. And then he's expected to go up against the Australians, and that's not a criticism of George. It's just he's not playing. He's not. You can't. It's the worst preparation for an Ashes series that any halfback has ever gone into. From his point of view, he should have been nowhere near. It should be Mikey Lewis and Harry Smith. And getting the like Dave said, the best standoff in the comp this year, and putting him on the bench to come on and then play a role at hooker for 10 minutes. It's insane. Against the best players in the world.
Run, didn't he? I can remember him at one point doing a dummy wrun where you're thinking, where he thought I'm going to have a little run here. There was a bit of an opening, but that's not Mikey's game. That's who he is.
It's complete. Wait, you might as well say we've missed out there because we could have. If that's where Sean wanted to go, and fair play, he's the England coach, he can do that. Then you're right in saying Mikey shouldn't have been in the squad.
No, shouldn't.
We've missed it. You could have had Owen Trout on the bench instead. If you want to match him down the middle, then have another prop on the bench, and try and go at him that way. But to have him in that role was just. But the thing is with this as well, that everyone can say, "Oh, you think you're better than Sean Wayne and you're better." This isn't us. This is everybody saying this. Everybody.
We're allowed to have an opinion. Look, fans are allowed. That's the whole point of Super League Raw. Fans are allowed to have a view.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. We do give your head a wobble. You know, we know the difference between people who've been out on the lash and decide to come on here on a Tuesday night and have one too many. I'm not looking at you, Reggie. I'm not. Only joking. No, but I'm only kidding. Right, but genuinely, we know the difference between that. There goes Greg. We know the difference between that and people who can have a structured debate on rugby league.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to have a debate on rugby league. And you know, if you've watched the game all your life, you know that you don't. You might not know it to the nth degree, like the top coaches, the top players, and nobody will profess that you do. It's a whole different ball game, watching it and playing it and training it and all of that. Of course it is. But it doesn't take a genius to realise that you play Mikey Lewis 6. You don't play him as
this is the point. The point I'm making is you've got people who are complete, you know, like the absolute idiots that we have in rugby league who will say anything, whatever. Then you've got the people who know a bit about rugby league, and then you've got the commentators, the journos or whatever of rugby league, and then you've got Sean Wayne, and Sean Wayne's the only one. Every other agreement is so hard to come by against that demographic of people, but the majority of that demographic of all those different ones we just mentioned all think it was stupid not to play Mikey Lewis 6, apart from Sean Wayne.
Yeah, the murmurings in the ground was, where's Mikey Lewis? Bring Lewis on. And the murmuring was starting soon after half time. You know, in every Super League game, if you got two hookers, a starting hooker and a hooker on the bench, with about 10 minutes to go the first half, you bring your replacement hooker on.
Yeah,
they ran Jez Litton for too long. He looked shattered.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was absolutely out of his
mark, he
feet.
looked shattered.
He was great though. Litton was great.
Incredible. I mean, incredible. But unfortunately, he got tired, and because it's a different level than, and it is. It's international. It's a different level as well. It's international rugby league.
Imagine spelling in with Walker. Walker was towards the back end for Warrington.
Yeah,
Warrington looked a different side when Danny Walker came back.
Yeah, I agree.
What annoys me is he leaves Jake Connor out and brings in AJ Brimson.
Well, I mean, I get people haven't seen the best of Brimson on Saturday. He's a good player, Brimson, and I think he's got. I mean,
he's not the impact Jake Connor's had.
Well, no, of course, no. We've done that to death. I mean, that I completely agree.
No, but this is my frustration as well. You know, you could have put Connor at fullback.
But again,
he's played at fullback.
You're putting a square peg in around home.
On at fullback. If Wellesby's not performing, you could have put Connor there.
You could.
There are lots of options.
You could, but again, I would argue there, mate. You know, you're putting a player who's played all season at 7 back to fullback, and if you remember him,
you played a player all season at 6 who's on the bench as replacement hooker.
And we agree, but that's the point. And that so we're both saying the same thing. So for me, it was wrong. Mikey Lewis should not have even been in the 17. And I'm sorry, KR fans, that's fact. If that's what you're gonna do, you put Daz Clark on and you give Jez Litton a proper break at 9 and bring him back on for the last 15. You just don't do it. You play Mikey Lewis or you don't. And if he hadn't picked him in the squad, we're sitting here tonight going, where was Mikey Lewis? And rightly so, because he should have been in that team.
He should have started instead of George Williams.
Yeah, can't get me around it.
As Steph says,
the attack was the problem, wasn't it? Yeah. Defensively, you know, we've only conceded 2 tries, was it?
But the tactics is But the tactics is this. I mean, let's not forget, it's 40 points to 10. In 2 games. Now,
I forgot about Wembley.
But this is the thing, right? It's 40 points to 10. And let's be fair, Daz Clark's was a consolation turn-off moment, you know, from a playing the ball. We already say this in Super League, don't we? Whenever we see a team concede a try, and we've seen a few this season, and we call them out, Steph, on round and pack, lazy defending. A hooker should not be going in ever. It's always players switching off because they're just not concentrating. You take your man, you hold your discipline, you keep him there. That was the Aussies turning off. That's the Daz Clark try. I don't care what anybody says, but it's overall we've scored a try. So here's the thing, which adds even more fuel to what I'm saying. On 2 occasions, for 20 minutes, we played against 12 men. Now you'll argue, but for the first 10, we had a player off as well. I get that, but it creates space on the edges.
Yeah.
So for 53 minutes, we've been trying to go around them to finish sets of 6 off to get.
We've not put a move. We've not put a move on.
We haven't put a grubber kick in. We haven't tested the round. We've done nothing. We never looked like scoring. The tactics
is awful.
Are almost like going back to your point, Reg, in terms of the grind, is it's not tactics to win a game. It's the tactics not to lose a game.
Yeah.
It's the wrong tactics. And even if at 53 minutes, that's got you to a position where, I mean, let's be at 52 minutes, you're right in the game. You're 8-4. You're right in it, right? So at 52 minutes, you're right. At what point do you go, right, we've got to unleash Mikey now? Because the only way, we're 4 points behind. It ended up being 10 a minute later. We've got to do something. This isn't working. We've gone for it. We've had a stint with 12. We've had Wembley. We've had now. We've got to do something different. We need Mikey on.
Yeah, that happens as soon as Australia score that second try. Mikey Lewis has got to come on.
Yeah, try something different. You're about to just lose the Ashes. You know,
25
but
minutes.
the problem is Mikey Lewis. The only way Mikey Lewis was ever going to get on that pitch at 6 is if George Williams was injured or went off with a HIA.
You know what? He went down. George Williams went down.
Yeah.
People around me were saying, "Brilliant, get Lewis on, get Lewis on."
Yeah, but this is the
groan when he got up and started playing again.
This is the point I'm making about, people say, oh, you're not, Sean Waite's a good coach and he knows what he's doing and stuff like that. But everyone can see that George is a great player. He's going back to the NRL, in a year's time. So, he's got thinking, but he's been hampered. I mean, he's not had a great season by his standards, but he's also been hampered by that injury. Our creativity, the shape is awful for a team that's been together now, and there's no excuses. They're in camp. They're training together. We've not put a move on. We've not made a line break pretty much. We're not getting the ball to our best blooming centre. Harvey Farnworth hardly touched it at Everton.
Yeah,
they kept going back.
Second rowers were not running at angles. There was no switch play.
But that comes down to your halfbacks. The shape is your halfbacks.
Yeah,
and that's down to George Williams' execution was. I'm not even going to say poor. It was woeful at times.
Right.
Really, really bad. And I think Harry Smith saved him with his structure.
But the thing on that, though, like I say, going back to the documentary, the Chasing History, which has been brilliant, by the way, I've really enjoyed that. But you watch the Chasing History documentary, and you can hear Sean Wayne in the George. So change him.
Yeah,
change him.
You saw him on the screen in the ground.
There's no point in shouting at him. You've got Mikey Lewis sat on the bench. You're 14-4 down with nearly 20 minutes to go. What you waiting for? It's now or never. Get him in the team.
Said in the chat, Steve says in the chat, Dom Young being used as a forward. Why have we got this tactic of having wingers bringing the ball out? That's what your forwards are there for. It's a Super League thing where the wingers, Hewlett at Warrington.
Well, but that's the modern day winger, mate. It's the modern day winger. They all do that. They all do.
I hate that. This is what you've got props and second rows for, to make yards out of defence, and then your wingers and your centres are there to create with the halfbacks.
Modern day, mate.
I don't know why we've got into this modern day habit of having your wingers and your halfbacks being your main drivers of the ball in, especially against the Aussies.
Back when you were a lad, eh, son? Back when you were a lad, eh? When Rugby League was...
when it was played proper.
When there were players, eh? I can't speak. Unbelievable stuff.
We could test scrums. Hey, they were the days.
Anyway, on the
point,
just on the point, though, I mean, in the chat, I think it was Andy Bibby who said, should Sean Wayne be in charge for the World Cup? He hinted he will be at the end, and that raised a few eyebrows. Therefore, we'll bring you in because I know this is going to get you on your soapbox. He has hinted that Newman and Lewis. Well, Newman will come in for Ward, we believe, at the weekend. We'll get the squads up in a minute. Well, yeah, but there's a good chance it's going to be Yellow Cowboys. But no.
I was being sarcastic. I don't think that's a good thing either.
Well,
anyway.
There you go. But he's also said Lewis is playing now. Williams for me has to go in. If Williams plays, look, one of the things that I think, let's not forget the Aussies had a warm-up game. We didn't. I think that's looking a bit foolish as we sit here now. We didn't have a mid-season game. We didn't have a warm-up game. We've gone straight into an Ashes series. Now, at this moment in time, as we sit here right now, there is no mid-season international next season. So, and the likelihood is there's going to be no warm-up game. So we're going straight into a World Cup at the end of the season. So here's the thing for me. We've had Williams and Lewis. Lewis at 7. Nonsense. Should never have been at 7. We've had Smith and Williams. Harry showed why he is a 7 against Everton. If he doesn't, again, going back to Andy's point about Sean for the World Cup, surely he has to go Smith and Lewis, because this is probably the only game between now and the World Cup next year that he's going to see these two playing side by side. Yeah. And if it's George Williams, what if? Well, if Sean Wayne's in charge, there's a high probability that George remains his captain. Rightly or wrongly, but it's rightly or wrongly that George remains his captain for the World Cup. Okay, unless he has an absolute shocker. And let's be fair, he wasn't great this year. So I mean, Warrington. So that's what the crack's going to be. Yeah. So if George was to pick up an injury that meant he couldn't go to the World Cup, and I don't wish that on anybody, he's now forced into playing Smith and Lewis. So why wouldn't you, in Ashes 3, put Smith and Lewis side by side in preparation for the World Cup, which for me, this Ashes always was. We were never winning this Ashes series. This should have been all about getting ready for the World Cup and giving that your best shot.
I think the question for me is, if Wellesby gets, the shepherd's hook after the Wembley performance, how can he not with Williams? Because Williams was woeful. Like it weren't even bad. It was woeful, his performance at times in that game. Defensively, he was fine. I'm talking attack, which he's responsible for. Harry Smith's the controller, the kicker, the structured play. Williams is the creative side of that partnership. He's the 6. It was terrible. If Sean Wayne keeps him in that squad, then that just reaffirms what everybody thinks of Sean Wayne's selections this Ashes series.
Yeah.
They've been it's been a disaster in that respect. It's like literally a disaster. And like I say, it's not us saying it.
No,
rugby fans are the best fans in the world for disagreeing with each other. I think everybody's in agreement pretty much on selection.
Well, what I would say to you, gentlemen, is this, and I don't know if you I like to see what other people are saying. So a little bit of a shout out here to League Express, because one of the good things about League Express over the Ashes series is that Gary Schofield has returned for 3 or 4 weeks. And Gary's gone to places that not many parts of the written press has gone, because I don't know why, but they haven't. But Gary's gone all in, which not many people have done. And I'll just take a little bit. I'll just a couple of paragraphs for those who haven't got League Express. Gary Schofield. I thought Jeslett caught the eye at hooker, and Callum Watkins had a really good game in the second row. But overall, Australia's pack were comfortably in the ascendancy. I'm not so sure about that.
Morgan Knowles, we've not even spoken about him. He was phenomenal.
Morgan Smithies, when he came on, was superb.
Right, he goes on. But there was hardly anything from the halfbacks. George Williams was fairly anonymous, and Harry Smith struggled as much as Mikey. Disagree with that.
Yeah, that's
right. He was much better than Mikey, because he was playing a proper 7 role. He did the job he was paid.
He controlled it as best as he could.
But here's the bit, right? A man who's played at the highest level of the game, played in Australia. We didn't seem to have a plan B, never mind C and D. And we didn't seem to have a real spark of creativity. That's Gary Schofield.
That's been my criticism of Sean Wayne all along.
Yeah.
He's a bull. His tactics are to bully the opposition. And when the opposition bullies back,
the forward coach.
He hasn't got a plan B to fall back on. That's always been my criticism of Sean Wayne. He was a bully as a player, and he was a great player, but he was a bully.
Why do you think
he wants to bully opposition?
Why do you think Adrian Lamb and Willie Peters have played the best attacking rugby? Because they were halfbacks.
Exactly.
And this is the thing. And I'm not saying a forward can't go on to be a great coach and stuff like that. Of course they can. But when you look at creativity, that Sean Wayne has never been a creator. He's always been a forwards coach and a great motivator. And it's coming and at international level, at club level, when you've got a load of money and you can sign the best players in Super League, then it's easy. But when you're going up against the best in the world, you can't do that. And he's been found out.
In fairness to Sean Wayne, it ain't easy.
No.
It ain't easy.
Wigan,
It ain't easy. It ain't easy. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. At club level, those tactics can get you there.
When you've got the most money to spend, when you've got the best academy to thingy,
No, it's not. Easy. It's not easy.
Who struggled as a Wigan coach?
At times, Adrian Lamb, Matt Pete.
Adrian Lamb got sacked for finishing second.
Yeah, but it's about silverware at Wigan.
I know what Steph's saying.
No, yeah, but
look, you've got the structure, the setup at Wigan. Dave,
we got the structure.
It's hard to fail. It's very hard to fail.
Yeah, it's not. Not when you're playing alongside the Saints, the Leeds, their pomp, etc. It ain't easy. That's a bit harsh. That's like saying at KR it's been easy because they've got the best squad this year. That ain't easy.
Well, they've recruited the best. They've done that themselves.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that, but it ain't easy. Even if you've got the best team, it ain't easy.
He had the best squad.
He was the last Wigan coach that struggled.
No, but back in the 80s and 90s, I'd agree with you, but not in the modern day.
Well, who in the modern day, which coach at Wigan has struggled?
Well, they haven't won the Super League every year, mate.
I didn't say win it. I said who struggled.
Well, by their standards, that is not good enough, and rightly so. By their standards, that ain't good enough. If you ask a Wigan supporter what's failure, it's not winning the grand final.
The last Wigan coach I can remember was when they signed Fielden in that dodgy thing where they've not been.
Brian Noble didn't have it his own way. Brian Noble struggled.
That was a rare one-off season, wasn't it? That's the one I've just referenced.
Guys. Who did Brian Noble replace? He was the last one. Who was it? He replaced Brian Noble.
Endicott. Was it not Endicott?
Might have been Millward. Yeah, Ian Millward.
Was it Millward he went after?
Millward. Yeah, it was Millward.
Saints.
Yeah. But look. I just don't think, it's all sport, mate. I just think easy's a bit. I think you went a bit too far there. But that's just my opinion. You're entitled to yours. I'm entitled to mine. Right. Let's get into the squads. Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the Ashes. I mean, Yo's back, Carrigan back at prop, Collins goes back onto the bench, and Lindsay Smith drops out. It's Ashes team from the Wembley game.
Yeah.
No foot off the throttle.
No.
Again. No Wellsby, so it's going to be Brimson probably at full-back, you would expect. Rumour has it, of course, that it's going to be it will be Newman for Wardle, who's not there as well. All eyes on the half-back pairing. All eyes on that. I think from a forwards perspective, boys, it's probably going to be very similar to what we saw at Everton, is what I would say from a forward perspective. There's a decision to make at 6, and we know that Newman's replacing Wardle.
Burgess is in for Young as well.
On the wing,
of course, on the wing for Young. Yeah,
international for 10 years. Can you believe that?
Yeah, no, unbelievable. But does anybody have any? You heard Sean Wayne holding back the tears. Yeah, Aledzki's come out today as well. Australia cannot win 3-0.
They will.
They will.
They will.
Yeah,
I'm glad Burgess is getting his shot. I think he's deserved it. I think he's been good. So I'm really happy about that. Newman, I'm not happy about. I don't think he should be anywhere near an England side. Mikey Lewis should be in at 6.
6 and 7 should be Lewis and Harry Smith.
Yeah, Smithy's made a good impact when he came in. I was happy with him. Morgan Knowles was outstanding. Matty Lees, I thought, played quite well as well. Lees, so I think
with a broken eye socket.
Yeah, he needs to play Wormsley more.
Yeah. I mean, Wormsley had that bad knock on, but and I don't know what it is.
Meekin did. Meekin knocked on as well.
I feel Felix Wormsley because every time he does his one knock on, the world descends on him, and it's just like. I feel for him. I mean, he'd want his time again. Of course he would. He don't go in. He don't intentionally knock. But I tell you what, speaking of knock-ons, it'd be a miss of us not to go there. What on earth was that, Dom Young? What was that?
Well, that was another. I mean, we're going to go back to the rest again. I mean, we're just praising the documentary they've done today for the referees and stuff, and not to, the human being. But this was a great example again of the Aussie ref. Speaking to he never left. He was if it had been a bounce up. I mean, if it hits the other player and you regather, that's a knock on. That is a knock on. But he never left he swapped hands, but he never left his control. He never lost control of that ball. And then for that to be reviewed, you could understand the referee giving the decision initially, fair enough. But then to see it on TV was scandalous. It was a shocking decision.
In the words of James Graham, who I thought has been an absolute breath of fresh air in the commentary.
Agreed.
Yeah.
At what level of rugby league is that a knock-on?
Yeah.
It wasn't. End of. No argument. Not a knock-on. Ian Smith, give your head a wobble, sunshine.
Ian Smith?
Jack as well.
Jack Smith. Yeah, Ian Smith.
Ian Smith was at home, mate.
He's got another ball.
He was having a laugh thinking.
Another ball, yeah. But you mentioned James Graham. I thought
he's out again.
I think where James Graham's concerned, when the try, the Munster try, I thought Cam Munster had a good game. Try aside, I thought Cam Munster was very good. I thought Cleary was better as well. But when that try was being given, you heard him in the background faint again, going Billy. I tell you what, at that point, I think James Graham wanted to put his boots on. I think he was that filthy. He wanted to go and take matters into his own hands, James Graham.
I loved him when that fight started. Don't leave him on his own.
That's it, yeah. Get in there, lad. Get in
James
there.
Graham was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And he called it as he was, and he wasn't afraid to criticise decisions. And that's what we need. He said we need the biff. We need to bring the biff back. That's what we need. That's what the fans love.
I'd love him to do a documentary of the refs of this Ashes series, and they explain how that wasn't obstruction.
It's just, mate. It's
since this, it's not even a rule. That's changed since I played rugby back in the day. From being a 6-year-old, that has been an obstruction.
Run behind your own player. It's an obstruction.
If it doesn't matter whether it's influenced other players or whatever, you can't do. You've got to stop. And the rules changed now in terms of it was just a penalty. You can't do it. It's a penalty. If you stop now and drop, it's play on, and you've surrendered.
Yeah.
For the right reasons. So it's not a penalty. But that's the rule. It's never been not that, and you can't go, oh, he's not influenced him. You just can't do it.
It was
the fact that Jack Smith was swayed by the referee when the referee said, "Don't even look at the obstruction call. It wasn't an obstruction. He's not influenced it." Sorry,
don't look at that blatant obstruction.
No, but actually, and I agree. The referee shouldn't have said what he said. But how many times last season did we say? And I think even Ask Ollie, young Ollie, in one of his pieces this year said the same thing, that when a try goes up for try no try, why are we looking at 5 or 6 different things? What are we going up for? So rather than say don't, and again, he shouldn't look at that anyway. If the referee sends up and says, I want to check the grounding, you don't have to tell him
just check the grounding.
And then it's on the referee.
Movement, though. There's potential double movement as well, wasn't there?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if that's what he wants to check, he doesn't have to say. And this is, I think, and that's the bit for me that's wrong. And Ask Ollie said it, and I'd agree with young Ollie that when a video ref goes up, don't tell him what you don't want him to look at, because he shouldn't look at anything that you're not telling him to look at. So all the referee on the field should say is, "Can you check for double movement?" That's it. But the fact that he took it at stage 3 and said, "Don't worry about that," well, there's enough doubt in your mind to think that he will. So that surely means you should check it.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure it wasn't a double movement anyway, because
his momentum took him over.
The ball playing arm hits the floor.
It does, but momentum takes him over. So like on a wet pitch.
It won't double movement.
He does lift his arm.
Won't double movement.
If he'd have sent it up as a no try, it'd been interesting.
No. Still, it should have been overturned and given us a try.
Been very, very interesting.
No, it's a try. It's a try all day. I'm sorry. Again,
talking in the chat, Dawn, we think that Dom Young's broke a bone either in his leg or his
leg, in it. His foot.
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic. Right, hey boys, we've got 12 minutes. So we've gone through Ashes 2. I've been on my soapbox reference, Mikey Lewis not being brought on for 20 minutes. We've gone through a lot of news tonight. Any questions in the chat? And I think it was Andy Bibby. I've remembered it. He said earlier on. I think he was talking about Six Nations in rugby league.
As in the same as rugby union format.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, which
pointless.
Fair enough. In the interest of debate,
he's going to compete with England. It'll be 70-0 every game.
England won't benefit England. My question on that, instead of that, bring back Great Britain instead of England.
Oh,
Yes.
well, yeah. I think all of us would
Don't
rather
make any
play
difference
for-
to players. If players are good enough to
No,
play
but-
for England,
No, I
But-
think
Have a
great
few Welsh players getting there.
from a play. If you talk about who gets selected, Steph, I get that.
Mhm.
But I think in terms of the shirt, you ask any England player.
I agree. That's what I mean. It makes no difference from the team would not change.
Yeah.
It'd be great. Like
Yeah.
nostalgia for Great Britain. Absolutely, I'm all for that. I didn't get why they changed it to England.
I don't
Pointless
know.
in rugby
It's
league.
the World Cups, isn't it? To pan out the World Cups.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Isn't
I've
it?
got another question.
Go
Why
for it.
was Ralph Little sat next to Sean Wayne in the coaching desk?
Oh,
You watch it. Ralph Little sat.
He was having 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps.
Yeah, honestly, there's a guy. I don't know. I really forgive me. I don't know who he is, but he's a spitter, Ralph Little.
Yeah. Don't know, mate. I don't know.
It's not Ralph Little.
It's like basket. It's like Baz's bit of Bob Gallagher, isn't it? You know, they're all over the place. If you look,
Was it the royal? Was he in the royal family box?
He was in the raw box, yeah. Honestly, he's clearly a statistician or a coach or a physio, but he's a spitter, Ralph Little.
Oh, well, there you go. There you are.
Have a look.
Yeah, happy days.
Stevens asked the question.
Yes, we'll get to we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Don Kirby though, England A versus England B. It's called Yorkshire Lancashire. It's called Battle of the Roses. That's if England want to get better, if they really want to improve the standard of international rugby league, because they can't go unless they go over and play in the Pacific nations at the end of the seasons, which for me they should do because it's a higher standard. And that'll battle hard.
England should be playing in that.
That's what I'm saying. You should just go and do that. You know, and Ashes. I think an Ashes takes precedent. I get that. Yeah, every now and again bring the Ashes back. Yeah, but England have got to get up to a level before that. Go and play down under. Go and get invited into that. Go and test your arm against these, advancing nations. Happy days is what I would say. Steve Cartledge, good to see you, Steve, mate. Who's next for the England job?
This is a question I didn't want asking tonight because I haven't got a clue.
That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that is the problem. If, and I think it's the only way it can happen now, if it becomes a part-time role, then I think Paul.
Yeah.
I really do.
The England job doesn't need a full-time role.
Well, it's not. I mean, with the greatest respect, it's not a full-time role now. Does Sean not watch every Wigan game?
Well, he's a Wigan coach, isn't he?
So what's the difference if Paul Rowley's a part-time coach? It's like me, innit? It's like you. I watch every Super League game every week in preparation for what we do. I watch everything, and people say, "No, you don't." Yeah, I do. And I say this to everybody: when you record a game of rugby league, if you fast forward when the ball's out of play and the scrums and this, that, the other, you can probably do it in 52 minutes a game. So you can watch 2 games for the time it takes you to watch one. Is what I would say. So what you'll have
Danny Ward.
Someone's caught you on.
Phil Webster, Ian Watson.
Hey, you'd drive him there, wouldn't you, Phil? Having said that you like him, you'd drive him there, wouldn't it? Unbelievable.
Do you know Ian Watson is the best assistant coach that the world has ever seen?
Well, I'd say what Phil's put a really good point now, other than Phil Watson in the chat. Being that the BBC have lost Rugby Union Six Nations, does it open the door for Rugby League? That is
a great shout.
That's 100. You'd hope so.
BBC
wants some sport in the summers, and 100%. However, we've seen what the BBC do with Rugby League.
Six Nations is February, March.
Yeah.
So it opens the door for them showing more live rugby league.
Super League.
Yeah.
Super League. But I have to say, I think again, really good effort where the Ashes has been concerned on the Beeb. I've got to give
them a great job.
I've hated their coverage of Super League on the Red Button all season, but credit where credit's due. The job they've done on the Ashes, and that's probably because of the quality of the people they brought in for the Ashes, has been superb. Absolutely superb.
Yeah. I thought, going back to the Ashes, I thought Sam Tompkins did a great job of waving his tea towel around on the pitch when he ran on. I'm surprised he didn't get player of the match. He did a great job waving his tea towel around.
Sam Tompkins, mate. I think he ran for more meters than half the squad.
He made more meters than AJ Brimson.
Carla Collier, obviously, it won't be played in 26. It won't be played for the World Cup. In 27, she said they are looking at a Six Nations with England included. Has to happen. For me, Carla, has to happen. But I still like the idea, really like the idea of an Origin series. Because again,
I think Lancashire, Yorkshire, and Cumbria, a tri-nation, a County.
Yeah, they haven't got
Not enough Cumbrians.
not enough Cumbrians.
Well, they'd find them from somewhere, and the Cumbrians are big lads.
Yeah, but no.
I think it's unfair to leave Cumbria out because Cumbria is a great.
Well, you don't.
rugby
Well,
league.
yeah, but
Which Cumbrians would you have in it, Reggie?
Well, they'd find them from Whitehaven, from Workington.
yeah, but they're not to the level, mate. They get battered.
Players.
They get battered, mate. Now look, you don't get people saying Queensland's new. Hang on, you don't
get
level. We're doing it because it's a competitive game.
No.
Bring Kyle Amor out of retirement.
Why not? Have him as coach at Cumbria.
And Brad Singleton.
Have him as coach at Cumbria.
Look, the greatest idea.
Don't ignore Cumbria. Cumbria is a.
No, I'm not ignoring Cumbria, but they aren't at that level. They get battered.
Our Wales, our Scotland, our Ireland.
So let them go and play Wales and Ireland. They're not playing.
Get Cumbria playing Wales, Ireland, and Scotland then.
I agree with that. All day long. But in terms of back to the War of the Roses, which doesn't include Cumbria, unfortunately, I think that has got to be the way to go. And like with the NR, and this is why going back to the Landis boys, this is why it needs governance out of the clubs. Because of course, for those who aren't close to the NRL, I know a lot of people who watch us are, but for those who aren't, they sacrifice their players for the Origin series, and they either back up like we did at Easter. They've got the option of either backing up or they miss the following game for the club because Origin is put on that pedestal. That is what they do. So if Volandi's got his wish and the clubs had less power, maybe that would increase the possibility of a War of the Roses coming back to improve the England side. It'd be very interesting to see.
Same as rugby union as well. Like, I know we're talking Six Nations. That's the same thing. They all forfeit their club rugby. That's still going on at the time when the Six Nations is going on and the games still go ahead. So yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you've got Dave Cavalier in the chat, Dave saying, get Tony Smith involved with James Graham. James Graham I'd agree with, not as coach, but in the coaching team setup. I think the time has come now for the likes of a Paul Rowley, for people that are at that point.
I think Craig Forth makes a great shout with Dennis Betts.
Dennis Betts, not a bad shout, Dennis.
I'd have Paul Rowley with Sam Burgess and James Graham as assistants.
You'd be scared of going back to the changing room if you lost.
Tell you what, they'd motivate him.
They would, wouldn't they?
You'd have to, but then again, they'd have to be careful. It'd be like Adrian Morley against the Aussies. They'd be getting the sending off at first.
Yeah, they'd be down to 5 men after 20 minutes.
That's what the Aussies get. That's what they always worry about with us, though.
I agree.
We don't scare them on.
What a chat. It's been a great night. We've had a big chat. Of course, we're in the off season now, so we're having a bit of conversation. We hope you've enjoyed it, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you've enjoyed our company tonight. Please consider becoming a member. Loads of things coming down the pipe for the members. Some new things coming as well in 2026. Looking forward to that as well with you. And actually, can I just finish this show by giving another plug? You've watched us. So for those who are watching and those who've got to the end of the podcast, if you haven't listened to this week's Final Whistle podcast, which Mark Hill hosted with a fantastic panel. It was a belter. It really, really was. Really good listen. So if you've listened to us and you want another little fill, great hours debate between the members in terms of Ashes 2. Really quality debate. So give that a listen as well. That's available on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you get your podcast. The Final Whistle podcast. Well done to Mark. Well done to all of the lads who got involved. I fully enjoyed listening to that this weekend. We will do it all again next week. We will unwrap Ashes 3, and then we will start to fill in between now and the new season with a few little bits that will keep you entertained over the winter months. But from us to you, thanks for watching us yet again. We'll be back with more weekly next week. Enjoy Ashes 3. Bye.
Thank you for the best wishes in the chat, people. Thank you very much.
100%. And yes, on that topic to John. Best wishes. Bye for now.